During the break, I saw some of our experienced meditators are showing in experience how to cross legs. That triggers some thought in my mind, because during the meditation, we didn't have too much time to show you exactly how to do it. How to cross your leg, the posture, the right posture, because we didn't have time every time to show you exactly how to cross your leg. So our experienced meditators, as I see, they show you how to do it. That's very important, because they have been meditating for a long time, and they take meditation very seriously. You know how to do it. Every session, you have to take meditation as if every session you want improvement. Not just sitting there and relaxing. You want improvement in every session, at home or in the hall. So it's good that maybe we can arrange sometimes, even after lunch, that we show some inexperienced ones how actually to cross the leg. So what I need to do, maybe I'd like to talk a little bit more today, and because I have been roaming on the seventh consciousness for too long, and I like to finish it today if possible and go on to the eighth consciousness. So we already have studied the first five with external environments of matter, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And then we have our perceptive sensory organs, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our body. We already have studied the five consciousness for a few months. And we already have studied the sixth consciousness for a long time also. And we have been doing the seventh consciousness, which is the ego attachment, the personalization and arousal of emotions of the seventh consciousness. And that we've been studying. And we haven't been studying the store of the present and past karmic energy. And if you still have to roll into the reincarnation process, then that's also a storage for your future karmic energy. And the store consciousness, if I can summarize it very briefly, it comes first before birth and leaves last after death. You may not know what it means, because that's the new line that I put in. Before you were born, you get into your mom's body, and before you come out, the eighth consciousness shoots in there first. It comes first, even before your birth. But when you die, when we died, it goes away last. And then we said, how does the seventh consciousness manifest itself? How does it show the seventh consciousness? How does it show itself? The seventh consciousness in us, in you, in me. You may not realize it, because usually the study of consciousness in modern psychology, they only study the consciousness of what? Of your mentality, of the sixth consciousness. And some deeper psychologists may bring out the eighth ID or the subconsciousness. But the Buddha delineated it in detail of the eighth consciousness. And the seventh consciousness, the ego consciousness, how does the seventh consciousness, the manas, in Sanskrit, the manas consciousness, how does it manifest itself? So let's go on to the next one. The manifestation of the seventh consciousness. So four manifestations. Self-love, the love of the ego. You, me, all of us love our ego so much. Self-pride, because you have this ego, you have that pride in the belief that the five aggregates, matter, perception, thinking, volition, consciousness, are the self. You're proud of the self. And some people will say, no, I'm not proud of myself, I'm inferior, I have inferior complex. Inferior complex is the opposite of superior complex. When you always have setbacks and hurdles in front of you, then you from your superiority complex, you build up the inferior complex. It's an offspring from the superior complex. So self-pride, actually you are so proud of the fact that you have this ego, but you may not know about it. Self-infatuation, you are infatuated with this ego. You are habitually attached to that ego. You may not know about it. Self-view, you always have this self-view, the biased view of the ego. You always have this biased view. We always have a self-view. You may not realize it. We are so obstinate. We are so fixed in our mind. We are so rebellious. This is my view. How come I can't do it that way? Especially for teenagers. At that teenage age, they have a self-view that they don't want to change. It comes with experiences of life. So these are the manifestations. The seventh consciousness is manifested by self-love, self-pride, self-infatuation, and self-view. Okay, now that's the manifestation of the seventh consciousness. And just to bring this perspective into applied Buddhism, because we always think that this is so academic, so philosophical. How does it apply? How do we perceive it from the perspective of reality? All our legal negative emotions come from where? Negative emotions come from your interaction of your sixth and seventh consciousness with the outside world. When your first forefront sixth consciousness are interacting with the outside world, it at the same time interact internally with your ego consciousness. And in the process of these interactions, because you have your ego, you have emotions aroused. Depression, anxiety, sadness, despair, rage, fear, suspiciousness, autism even, self-pity, self-condemning, jealousy, hatred, self-obsessed, addiction, pride, arrogance, and so on and so forth. All these negative emotions is because of the ego consciousness interacting with the sixth consciousness, which are the manos, and the eyes, the ears, the nose, the body, and the tongue. All these consciousness work in conjunction with concomitant mental functions in you, which is 51 of them. I already have mentioned previously in a lot of other lectures related to other consciousnesses. All these originate from the proliferation of the first six consciousnesses, working with the ego attachment, which is the seventh, and then it would affect your health, your family, your job, your studies, your marriage, your career, your business, your public relations. Simply, they affect your whole life. Your whole life is the proliferation of all these consciousnesses in you, which are polluted, tainted. They're not pure. In the process of meditation, you're purifying all these. So it's absolutely important that when you do meditation, you have to know how your mind thinks. You don't just meditate, oh, I want to meditate, I just want to relax. I just want to pacify my mind and relax. That's not it. You have to understand the whys, the objectives of meditation, not just the hows of it, not just on how does meditation benefit me. Usually people, how they look at the Buddhist teaching. How does the Buddhist teaching improve my health, improve my family, improve my job, my marriage, everything? They don't look at how does all these things come out? Where do they originate from? I have to know the source of where they originate from. You have to study the source, not just the outcome. You just do it the opposite way. So this is applied Buddhism. How do you apply what you learn into your life? Then we ask ourselves, how does the seventh consciousness in us function? So let's get on to the next slide, which say the functioning of the seven consciousness. Functioning in terms of what? In terms of time dimensions. All that we have been discussing is in terms of space dimensions. How does it interact with the eye, the ear, the nose, the taste, the body, the touch, the sixth consciousness? It's all about space dimensions. Now, the time dimensions of the functioning. The first five consciousness, they function neither continually nor assessingly. In other words, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, they only functioned abruptly, not continually. In other words, when you go to sleep, your eyes is not functioning, your ears are not functioning. So the first five consciousness, they don't function continually. They don't function assessingly. Your eyes cannot assess the value of something. When your eyes look at a diamond ring, your eyes cannot assess the value of a diamond ring. Your eyes can only capture the image. The assessing of it belongs to the sixth consciousness. So the first five, they function neither continually nor assessingly. The sixth mano consciousness functions assessingly but not continually. So in other words, the sixth consciousness, the mano, the manager, assess everything. It helps the eyes, the ears, the nose, the body, the tongue to assess situations, to put values on things, to put egoistic value, one-sided self-centered value on things. So the sixth mano assess all the time, but it's not continual. Why is it not continual? When you die, it doesn't exist anymore. Your brain does not exist. When you die, it does not exist anymore. It's not continuous. But the seven consciousness is different. It functions assessingly and continually. In other words, after you die, your seven consciousness shrinks into the eight and go about the reincarnation. Take another format, take another form, take another body, take another world, take another realm, take another family. So your seven consciousness never dies. And your seven consciousness always assess. Your eyes cannot assess, but the mano consciousness and the seven consciousness always assess. But the only thing is, it assesses with a self-view, with an egoistic view. That's the reason why when people come to me to complain, usually working in a temple, people working in the temple, sometimes they can't get along with each other. This guy is talking to me like that. This woman is talking to me like that. Even the volunteers, they always have, self-views of what is equality. How come they treat me like that? How come they talk to me like that? How come he's got something better than me? I'm a volunteer and he's a volunteer. And how come he treat me different? They always have this assessing function in their mind. And I explained to them, well, put the explanation in very simple terms. The one you think is infuriating you has a dominating self. You who think that you are being infuriated, have a protective self. When a dominating ego is interacting with a protective ego, clash. They clash. But if a dominating ego is dominating you and your ego is not coming up, you're absorbing it with patience, with tolerance, then your dominating ego is not working. You're absorbing the conflict. You don't feel unhappy. You feel it's nothing. You feel that it's just a sentence. How come I attach to that sentence of, sentence is just a word. Sentence is not a knife stabs into my heart. It's just a sentence. How come I attach the sentence and I want to fight, I want to yell, I want to be jealous? It's my protective ego who want to counter that dominating ego. You want to fight. So don't blame the others, blame yourself too. Two clashes. So when two cars collide, it's not just a mistake of one car. usually. It's the mistakes of both. So we're talking about the functioning of the seven consciousness. We have talked about manifestation of the seventh consciousness. How do we use the seventh consciousness to transform ourselves? In other words, how do we transform our seventh consciousness into wisdom? What's the method of doing it? Let's do it by an example of meditation. How do we use meditation to transform our polluted, tainted consciousness into pure wisdom, leading us to that saintly path of Buddhahood? How do we do it? Let's take an example by showing meditation. How to meditate? Let's get to the basic. How to meditate? Meditation is dealing with the present moment, with also the past moment. The future hasn't come. We don't deal with the future yet. The future hasn't come. If you change your attitude towards the present and the past, then you change the future. You don't have to worry about the future. The future hasn't come. Any worry of the future won't change the future. You're putting anxiety on your past and your present will not change the outcome of the future. Only by changing your present and letting go of the past can you change the future. So let's talk about the present moment and the past moment. Present moment awareness and no perpetuation of the ego attachment. That's the main topics of meditation. How do we use a method to create our present moment awareness? We have to gear our multitude of external objects into just one object of attention. That's the breath. We use the breath as the one object. You use the time when you're meditating to eliminate all these outside externalities of greediness, hatred, unhappy, all these things into just one object of attention. And what do you use? You use the breath. So you calm down the monkeying mind of the first six consciousness, and we call it samatha. That's the present moment. And then how about the past? To let go of your past. Whatever the past, bad experiences, good experiences come up, you let it go. Don't bring your past onto your present meditation stool, on your present mind, and ponder on it. Yesterday, your wife scolded you without any reason. Now you're meditating, you find out that's not good. My wife is terrible. And you bring yesterday's terrible experiences into this mind now and ponder on it and feel unhappy about it to such a point that you cannot meditate. Does that attitude of yours change your mind, your wife's yesterday's action? No. No amount of jealousy, anger, hatred of today can change yesterday, can change the outcome, yesterday's happening outcome. Certainly it cannot change the outcome for tomorrow. So to avoid the ego attachment, let go of all this past, and of the present, don't attach your ego to it. You let go. Let go of whatever comes up. Always focus on your breath. Let go of whatever comes up. And this letting go is just a broad category. In the letting go process, it also contains contemplation, which is vipassana. And of course, we've got to go into the details later on that one. But suffice it to say, we need the present moment of awareness and no perpetuation of the ego attachment. Let's get a little bit more detail into focus on the breath and letting go. Why do we have to use the breath? Can we use a candle flame? Why do we have to use the breath? And why do we have to let go? I want to remember yesterday's happy moments. Why do I have to let go of it? It's a happy moment for me. Why do we use the breath? Your breath is the most present moment. What is more present than your breath? That is the present breath that you're breathing. Nothing is more present than your current breath. It follows you wherever you go and as long as you live. It's easy to remember and to control. And also it is the most akin to you as a focused object. You think the Buddha suggested to us to use the breath without any reason? Your breath is the most present. Your breath follows you wherever you go. Because if you use your breath as your focus in meditation, you can do it in the subway. You can do it when you're driving even. You can do it when you're angry. You can do it when you're happy. Because the breath follows you wherever you go. That is a radically at your fingertips object of attention. Why do you use the flame? Are you bringing the candle everywhere you go, and then you lit up your candle flame and use it as meditation focus? The breath is something that you don't even have to worry about, and you can use it as a focus wherever you go. Isn't that the most easy? Why do you still have to use others? Because you always look for external things that is not valuable in you until you lose it. You don't value your eyesight until you lose it. You don't value your listening ability until you lose it. We don't value our ability to walk properly until you're limping, until you lose the walking function. Appreciate what you've got. Appreciate the health. Appreciate everything that you've got already. Don't look for things that is at that juncture out of your control. At the present moment, it's out of your control. Let go. No perpetuation of attachment. Why let go? Letting go would break the habitual continuation of egoistic thoughts. The breath deals with the present moment. The past and the future must be dealt with letting go. You can't let go of your worry. You worry about tomorrow. You worry about your health, your career, your job. You worry about the future. That your future and your past must be dealt with by letting go. You worry about, you have anxiety about the future, but any anxiety of now that you created, would it change the outcome of tomorrow? Won't. No. You mean you worry about it and then whatever comes out tomorrow will be better? Say that if you have a report card on a university report card coming out tomorrow, that determines whether you can graduate or not. And then you start to worry a month ago, oh, can I graduate? Would that worry and anxiety change your marks given by the professor? Your worry will not change the professor's evaluation on you, which was done 1 month ago. You can't change it. Your anxiety cannot change the outcome. But your present moment attitude, working hard, will change the future. So the past and the future must be dealt with by a vipassana, by contemplation of letting go. And also letting go would stop the egoistic thinking pattern that is causing the sufferings. So this is why we meditate. We're meditating. Sati, S-A-T, Anapanasati, Anapanasati, in and out breath. The breath, Anapanasati. How do we do it? Our eyes look at matter, but when we're doing the meditation, you close the eyes, right? Or another point that I should bring out to you. If during a meditation, you close your eyes usually, right? But if you are sleepy, you don't close your eyes. You open your eyes when you're meditating because you're dozing off into sleep. So whenever you are meditating, you feel that you're like this. You just open your eyes. Open your eyes. Don't pretend that you're meditating. Don't be hypocritical. You want to pretend that you're meditating by closing your eyes, but actually you're not. You are seeing your inner eyes with drowsiness. So when you close your eyes, you don't see anything. That means your matter is gone. In that circle, there's no matter in there, right? It doesn't matter. There's no matter in there. In your ears, listen to sound, but then when you gear towards that focus on your breath, no sound can affect you. You would not realize the creaking of the engine of the car on the road, the cracking of the crows outside. There's no sound can affect you if you focus on your breath because your mind does not go to the sound. Even if someone is snoring at the back, if you really focus on your object, you can't listen to the snoring. You don't realize the snoring behind you. So your nose, unless the other guy sitting next to you is having cologne or perfume or that, otherwise your nose will not be affected. No one should wear any perfume when you come for meditation. Don't create pungent smell affecting others. So your nose is not subject to the influence of smell. Tongue, you're not eating a hamburger. You're not chewing anything. You're not having a candy. So when you're meditating, don't put chewing gum into your mouth. When you're meditating, you're actually chewing. You're chewing gum. So what's the point of meditation? Your taste is not working. So tongue is not being influenced by taste. Your body touch. Your body touch. That body touch does not mean just the skin touching. That includes the everything about your body that is outside of eyes, ears, nose, and tongue, which means that you don't affected by the beating of your heart. You don't affected by the sound inside your body. You're not being affected by the interaction of this fluid inside of you. The whole body, you forget about the whole body. Your whole body interaction, you don't necessarily stick to it. You don't necessarily stick to the palpitation of your heart. You don't necessarily stick to the feeling of how your lung, your kidney, or even sometimes in your numbness of the limbs. Because when you meditate for a long time, you may feel that for inexperienced meditator, you feel that your legs are numb, But then when you're really, your body is not attached to the touch, you don't feel that at all. There was a monk, a very experienced meditator. He used to meditate for hours. At one time, he was so deep in the meditation that he meditated for 15 days non-stop in a cave, in a mountain, snowy mountain. He found a cave and he meditated. And what did he eat during meditation? Potato. Sweet potatoes and ordinary potatoes. You put it on a self-created stove, with charcoals and that. And before meditation, he put some potatoes onto the grill, the grit, with a little bit of smoke. He wants to say, okay, I want to meditate for 4 hours, and I want to grill these potatoes. So when I get up from meditation, I can start to eat potatoes. So he put the potatoes on the grill, and then he started to meditate. And somehow in meditate, he did not know how many days. But when he woke up from meditation, all these potatoes become moldy, with a lot of mold surrounding it, in at least 10 days. The fire, of course, is long gone already. Potatoes become very moldy. A lot of, is that called moldy? Like a lot of, all these things outgrow on the potatoes growing out already. So for days already. He forgot about all these. He was deep in meditation. Mind, not attaching to any thought. And the manas, which is the self, what happened to the self? Now, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your body, your touch, your tongue don't have any externalities that attracted you. How about the body? Your body still have what? Still have breath. You haven't let go of your breath. That's normal. Because you let go of your matter, the sound, the smell, the taste, you haven't let go of your body interaction of the breath. Somebody said, oh, I've been meditating and I found myself selfless. I didn't know where I was. I lost my breath. I didn't know. Am I in a samadhi? I said, no, you were sleeping. You know why? You should have the breath as the focus. How come you lost your focus? You were sleeping actually. You didn't have, I am selfless. I don't have the ego. No, you've been sleeping and you thought you don't have the ego because you should maintain that breath in you. How about the mind? No inner commentator, no more arousal of concomitant mental functions, no habitual continuation of thoughts of the past, present, and the future. You do not let your concomitant mental functions arise. You have attention only on your breath. That's your breath. You shouldn't lose your breath. How about the manas, the self? Let go. Only the breath exists. The breath still exists. All right. If you have any more questions, then you can always ask at lunchtime.